What's happening, FlowChat Connector? In this video, I'm going to share 8 things that every prospect wants, no matter if they tell you they want that or they don't. This comes from historical and empirical evidence and data. Man, when you learn these things, the game changes quite a bit. Stay tuned. Pow! What's up, FlowChat Connector? Sean back at you here with another high-ticket tune-up. Hope you're having a great day today. Today is Tuesday, and Tuesday's a great day for getting a little bit of knowledge in. The week's kicked off now. You got everything done from Monday, right? You don't have a case of the Mondays anymore. But today, I wanted to share something I think is going to be hyper valuable for you, and it's 8 things that every single prospect wants, no matter they say they do or they don't, right? This was sparked by a great question. Came in and says, Sean, how can I set myself apart as a sales pro when dealing with prospects? Well, the answer to this is pretty simple. If you understand exactly what a prospect wants, and I'm going to go through them, there's 8 things, and you were able to weave those into your conversation, you're going to win at the highest level. So let's dive into it. Here we go. First and foremost, we all remember Abraham Maslow. Maybe you don't remember who Abraham Maslow is. If you're looking at this GIF right now, he's created a couple of things that are really, really powerful from the human psychology side. He created the needs, like the human needs tree, like the hierarchy of what he calls the hierarchy of needs, right? It starts with physiological, then it goes into safety, and then it goes into love and belonging, esteem, and then self-actualization, as you can see. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, okay, I get it conceptually, but it doesn't make sense to me because I don't know how to apply that. And so if you're sitting there thinking like, well, Sean, you're right. Well, here are, and again, I've gone through, I don't even know how many sales books, and I've learned about all this stuff. And here's the 8 things that every single prospect always wants. Let's go through them one at a time. Number 1, they want to be recognized. They want to be recognized, right? So all we have to do is very, very simply say, I see you. I think you're doing awesome things. That's enough in a sales conversation to give them some recognition, to say, hey, I see what you're doing. Your movement looks awesome. Like, great job, right? That's all it takes is a very simple compliment, and we can cover recognition. Right. So that's how we get into kind of speaking with the sales pro or as a sales pro to a prospect. Right. So give them a recognition. The first thing that we could talk about or do, obviously, other than following our selling system, if you have one, you better have one. If you don't have one, go get one. If you need to learn ours, we can teach it to you probably in a weekend or less. But follow your sales system. But inside of that sales system, in some of those compartments, recognition is going to be important. The second piece is this: respect. They want to be respected, mutually respected. Right. How do we do this? Well, in a sales conversation, there's this thing called status alignment is what it's called. And people respect people that are on their level. So when you're a sales pro, you don't want to come in being a yes, sir, yes, ma'am type of salesperson. That's an order taker. It's not a sales professional. We want to talk about the fact that we're on the same playing field as them. Now, you're going to have to come up with some way to say, hey, look, like, you're doing this, we're doing this. This is going to make a lot of sense. We're mutual respect for what you're doing, what we're doing. That's where you want to get to. How you get there are going to be the words that you choose to use. We use something called the status alignment, which uses a current event, and it talks about some other, there's a little formula for it. If you want to know more, drop a comment below. By the way, if you disagree with these top 8, I want to know about it. Or even actually, as we're going through these things, if one hits you harder than others, just drop a comment and let me know which one. And I can always go deeper on these things. But giving a prospect some respect is going to be definitely in your favor, right? Next one is pride, right? Every prospect wants to have pride of something that they've completed, pride of something they're building, pride of something they're doing. So again, as a sales professional, how do we address this part of the conversation? One of the best questions that I've found to use is, hey, curious, what's the next biggest project that you're working on right now? And they're going to say this and this and this. Man, like, how do you even get inspired to do that? And then they have a chance to share where their story came from, the pride, and you can dive right in to letting them say, look, I have this pride because I'm very proud of the thing that I've built. So again, what's the biggest thing that you're working on right now that's generating your business success? Like, that's a great question to ask to pull out some ability of the prospect to share pride with you. Next one is they want to be right. People always want to be right. Some personalities want to be right more often than others. If you're on the DISC, personality scale, if we're looking at that, the high C, they have to be right. So this is a big one depending on who you're selling to, what you're selling. If you're selling of more of a complicated, complex solution for something or that solves a problem for somebody, this conversation can be a little bit more challenging because you have to have kind of a 50-50 give and take. So when you're speaking with a prospect, how, one of the things that I use in our selling system is called the pain funnel, and it goes through 8 questions. It's like, hey, tell me more about that. Can you give an example, be more specific? How long has that been a thing? How long has that been going on? What have you tried to do to solve that? And did that work? Is the 5th question, and it goes on. But those 2 last questions are so valuable. Say, what have you tried to do in order to solve that? And they start saying, well, I did this and I did this and this was right. And I did it exactly the way it worked. And did that work? Well, it didn't work in my certain circumstance. What I typically do in that part of the conversation is I say, look, you're right. You did it. Like, that's exactly what you should have done in that scenario. However, that modality, that methodology you use to solve the problem that you're trying to solve isn't the right solution. You need to look at a different solution. So now what we've done is we position the prospect as being completely right. However, on this side is like, they understand, they're like, oh, I chose the wrong solution, but I applied it correctly. That's a great way to navigate giving a prospect something that they want. So that is how you can allow them to be right at all times. Next one here is to do better, right? Everybody always wants to strive and get better. So one of the things that sometimes I talk about is like, well, do you do any self-improvement? What is the last thing that you've done? How's your team growing? Like, there's a lot of different elements that you can identify as like, oh yeah, like I'm working on this. Like Charfin, if you know who Alex Charfin is, one of our coaches. I love the guy. He helped save my life from a very dark place once upon a time in my business career. And he was so good at saying like, here's the structure of how to do better. And he gave me 5 buckets of every business, right? Lead gen, lead nurture, conversion, fulfillment and delivery, and then retention and resell. Those are the 5 buckets of a business. And then every 90 days we go through and we quantify like, how are we doing better? So like one of the things that we do internally is we look at those 5 buckets and then we try to do better in each one for 90 days. We'll focus on this one for 90 days and that one. And so to do better, like prospects always want to do better. They want to choose the next latest, greatest thing. This is where something that's new, rare, and different is going to be powerful as a sales professional. If you position your offer, your system, your coaching, whatever it is you're selling, your agency, that they can actually step into a plane and do something different and get them better results, they're going to win. It's not giving them something better. Like it's, for example, it's like pole vaulting. I don't even know if this is a real thing, but hey, I'm pole vaulting with this normal pole vault, and somebody comes along and says, hey, do this one. It's better than that one. Well, first of all, I'm going to have resistance as a prospect because I'm like, no, this pole is awesome that I've been using. And then he says, no, this one will do better. Most people do not want to buy something better, stronger, or faster. Most people want something that's completely different, new, or rare that can get them the better or faster or stronger results. And that's where the hook comes in. So when you're positioning yourself, you want to really think about how do you position it as new and different versus bigger, better, and stronger. Okay. That's another one. Next is they want to belong, right? This is where if you're building a tribe or community, if you're not, I would encourage you to do so, whether you're housing it in a Facebook group or on community.fm or you have a podcast that you're whatever. Give them, your prospect, a place where they can connect to your network. In our case, some things we do is we have a Facebook group, and during some of our calls, we'll say, look, if we want you to become a part of our community, and in order doing that, let's connect you to some of our network. Who are the people that you're trying to find? Sometimes in a sales call, I'll open up our Facebook group. I'll go into the members list and I'll look for a few people that I think like, hey, would you like to meet this person or that person? And they're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And they immediately feel like they belong into our community. And then that will get them to buy because they'll bond with somebody else that's already a member of what we're doing. And that person will have a candid conversation. They'll be like, wow, this is a really cool thing. And then they'll end up buying, right? Number 7, they want to be rewarded, right? This comes down to getting results. Or making a good decision. I love how Russell Brunson in the ClickFunnels world does this. He's a master at this stuff. One of the things that I thought was really, really powerful, we went through his whole thing. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with Russell to learn from him and become friends with him and just be more like him because he's a really, really good business owner in terms of the SaaS space and what we do. When somebody buys something that's a little bit higher ticket, like over $2,000 or more from him, he will always send you something in the mail and it's a reward, whether it's a book, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a trophy, whether it's whatever. You can see on my wall back here, I have a ClickFunnels 2 Comma Club from our previous software company. It's just, there's the reward and then it's publicly visible. And so if you can share something like that with your prospect, like in our world, for FlowChat, we have a $100,000 award. We have a 7-figure award. We have a dream car award as well, that when you hit a certain level as an affiliate, you actually win it for dream car. So we built in some of that gamification, but reward system for our members. And it works extremely well to keep people motivated and move forward. The other thing that works really, really simply and well is a leaderboard. So if you can in some way put a leaderboard into your business. Now, example, Sharfin, when I was part of Sharfin's program, Alex Sharfin, he has something called the CEO metrics. Now, CEO metrics are everybody in his community has to play. Like when you invest with him, you have to play on this game with him. Every month, you have to submit your CEO metrics numbers, and there's a whole bunch of numbers. And then he puts a scoreboard together. So just a great example, if you're selling, say, for example, coaching services, perhaps you can build a yellow brick road or pathway. Another great example that pops to my mind is a girl named Stacy and Tom Martino. They do relationship coaching. One of the things they did is they built a yellow brick stepping stone road, which is like the client's journey. And at each journey, you would get this reward. It's kind of like a board game. It was fun for people to play. They could get in and they could stay tuned and stay plugged in. Lastly, but not least, is prospects don't want to lose, right? Prospects want results. Prospects want to invest with something they feel good about investing with. They want to see other people that are winning. So we do have to have some case stories here. But again, I try to cover these things one way or another during my sales conversation, and just take a snapshot of this really quick here, because if you start to think about this when you're in the conversation, or if you process it now and you've heard it from me, the next time you're going to go into a sales conversation, you're going to be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And now I'm going to go apply one of these things. If you just put 1 or 2 or maybe 3 into your conversations, your business is going to increase naturally and you're going to win at the highest level. With that said, you've just been tuned up. Don't forget, this is always a conversation. So comment below what you loved, what you hated about it, or what you do to keep your prospects truly engaged. Don't forget to smash that like button. Share this out to somebody who needs to get better in sales. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel. With that said, I can't wait to see you next time.